For months, rumors quietly circulated among fans, production insiders, and entertainment observers. Whispers appeared in online communities. Fleeting comments surfaced during live broadcasts, and subtle hints dropped by staff members sparked endless speculation. Now, the truth has finally come to light, before cameras ever began rolling for Are You Sure? Season 2, Jungkook of BTS, global superstar, cultural icon, and one of the most influential artists of his generation, had actually turned down the offer to participate. This revelation shocked fans around the world, not because Jungkook is known to shy away from projects, but because of the timing. The decision came right after his discharge from mandatory military service, a moment many expected to mark a swift and celebratory return to the spotlight. Yet behind the scenes, Jungkook made a choice that spoke volumes about his mindset, his values, and the unseen emotional journey he was navigating at the time. And then, just when it seemed the door was firmly closed, something changed. Jungkook reconsidered. Ultimately, he chose to step in front of the camera once more, this time alongside Jimin, his longtime bandmate and closest companion, transforming what could have been a simple variety show into one of the most emotionally anticipated projects in recent K-pop history. The weight of returning after military service. Mandatory military service is a defining chapter in the lives of South Korean men, and for global stars like Jungkook, it carries an additional layer of complexity. Service demands discipline, anonymity, and emotional restraint, qualities that contrast sharply with the boundless expression required on stage. When Jungkook completed his enlistment, fans imagined an immediate return filled with music, performances, and bright smiles. But reality, as it often does, unfolded differently. Sources close to the production revealed that shortly after his discharge, Jungkook was approached with a proposal for Are You Sure? Season 2. On paper, the project seemed perfect. The first season had been praised for its warmth, authenticity, and intimate portrayal of friendship. It wasn't about competition or spectacle. It was about moments, quiet conversations, shared laughter, and honest reflections. Still, Jungkook hesitated. According to insiders, the offer arrived during a period of personal recalibration. After months of living under strict routines and limited personal freedom, Jungkook wasn't immediately ready to expose his inner world on camera again. The transition from soldier back to superstar was not something he wanted to rush. Why, Jungkook initially said no. Contrary to early assumptions, Jungkook's refusal had nothing to do with contract disputes, creative differences, or exhaustion from work. In fact, those close to him insist the reason was far more human and far more relatable. Jungkook reportedly felt that he needed time to reconnect with himself before reconnecting with the public. Military service had changed his perspective. The silence, the discipline, and the distance from fans allowed him to reflect deeply on his identity, not just as an idol, but as a person in his late 20s navigating fame, responsibility, and expectations. One industry insider explained that Jungkook feared stepping into Are You Sure? Too soon might result in a version of himself that felt incomplete or emotionally guarded. The show's format, after all, thrives on sincerity. Cameras follow unfiltered moments, capturing vulnerability rather than performance. He didn't want to appear before fans without being fully present, the source revealed. For Jungkook, authenticity isn't optional, it's essential. Fans sensed something was different. Even without official confirmation, fans sensed that Jungkook was moving carefully. His post-discharge appearances were minimal. When he did speak, his words were thoughtful, measured, and introspective. Rather than exuberant excitement, there was a quiet maturity in his tone. A man observing the world before stepping back into it. Social media buzzed with theories. Some fans believed he was preparing for a massive solo comeback. Others speculated that he wanted to spend time with family and friends away from the public eye. Few imagined that he had actually turned down a major project. The idea that Jungkook, known for his dedication and deep connection with fans, would step back, even temporarily, only made the eventual revelation more compelling. The turning point entered Jimin. What ultimately changed Jungkook's mind was not pressure from management or persuasion from producers. It was Jimin. Those familiar with their bond know that Jungkook and Jimin share a relationship that goes beyond professional partnership. Forged through years of training, shared struggles, and global success, their connection is built on trust, emotional understanding, and unwavering support. During a private conversation, Jimin reportedly reached out to Jungkook, not to convince him, but to listen. The discussion wasn't about ratings or schedules. It was about how they felt, how they had changed, and what it meant to return together rather than alone. Jimin's presence offered something Jungkook hadn't realized he needed, a sense of safety. With Jimin by his side, Jungkook felt he could be himself without the pressure to perform or explain. Choosing togetherness over isolation. The decision to join Are You Sure? Season 2 wasn't just about saying yes to a show. It was about choosing connection over solitude. Jungkook realized that healing didn't necessarily mean retreating from the world. Sometimes, it meant sharing space with someone who understood your silence just as well as your laughter. The show became an opportunity not to expose himself, but to explore this new chapter gently, with someone he trusted implicitly. When Jungkook finally informed the production team of his decision, the atmosphere reportedly shifted instantly. What was once a tentative plan transformed into a project, infused with emotional depth and anticipation. A different Jungkook on screen. Viewers who later watched Are You Sure? Season 2 noticed something immediately. Jungkook felt different. He was calmer, more reflective. His laughter carried a softness, and his silences spoke just as loudly as his words. Rather than the exuberant golden magne fans were used to, audiences saw a man comfortable with pauses, with uncertainty and with vulnerability. Scenes between Jungkook and Jimin felt particularly resonant. Their conversations weren't dramatic, but they were profound, discussing growth, fears, and the quiet comfort companionship. These moments became the emotional backbone of the season. Why this revelation matters. The fact that Jungkook once rejected the show only adds depth to its final outcome. Knowing that his participation was a deliberate, emotional choice rather than an obligation makes every scene feel more meaningful. It also challenges a common perception of idols as endlessly available and emotionally invulnerable. Jungkook's decision highlights the importance of mental readiness, personal boundaries, and self-awareness, even for those at the peak of global fame. In an industry often driven by speed and constant output, Jungkook's initial refusal was a quiet act of self-respect. Fans reacted to the truth. When the revelation surfaced, fans responded with overwhelming support. Rather than disappointment, there was understanding and even admiration. Many praised Jungkook for prioritizing his well-being. Others expressed gratitude that he eventually chose to share such a personal journey, especially alongside Jimin. The narrative shifted from "why did he hesitate" to "thank you for returning when you were ready." Online discussions reflected a deeper appreciation for the emotional labor idols perform, both on and off camera. A story of growth, not rejection. Ultimately, Jungkook's initial decision to turn down Are You Sure? Season 2 was never about rejection. It was about growth. Growth requires pauses. It requires listening to oneself. And sometimes it requires saying no, so that when you finally say yes, it truly means something. By the time Jungkook stepped into filming, he wasn't the same person who had left for military service. And that transformation is precisely what made the season so powerful. The legacy of a single choice. Looking back, it's impossible to imagine Are You Sure? Season 2 without Jungkook. Yet knowing how close that reality came to existing makes the final result even more poignant. His journey, from hesitation to acceptance, from solitude to shared experience, mirrors the very themes the show sought to explore. Friendship, timing, emotional honesty, and perhaps that is the greatest revelation of all. Sometimes the most meaningful stories are born not from immediate agreement, but from thoughtful hesitation. Jungkook didn't just return to the screen. He returned on his own terms. Stronger, wiser, and surrounded by someone who truly understood him. And for fans around the world, that made all the difference.